Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and today I'm going to be demoing how to crochet the Plush Hourglass Floor Pillow, which you can see right here. It's so big that I had to leave my other studio so I can show you just how big and beautiful this pillow is. We're going to be heading into the other studio here in just a moment so I can demonstrate how to do the actual crocheting. But first, I want to show you how this pillow comes together, or rather how the pillow cover comes together, because I've stuffed it with a 24-inch pillow form. So as you can see, it's a little big for our little table here, which is why we're here. And on the front, it has this gorgeous cabled pattern. You can see right there. Isn't that pretty? Absolutely gorgeous. Now on the back, it has buttons. So you can open it up and take that pillow form in and out so you can wash that cover as much as necessary. So when you're making this pillow cover, you're going to be making it in 3 pieces. You've got the top with the cabling, and then the bottom here, or the back, however you want to think of it, is made in 2 pieces. You've got, trying to get it on camera here, I'm going to stand up a little bit. You've got the longer piece right here, and then a shorter piece right here. These 2 pieces are worked exclusively in half double crochet. And you can see here, if I can get one of them out, these buttons are just sewn right to the fabric and then slipped right between the stitches. So you can adjust these for the fluffiness of your own pillow form as well. So again, here is the front of the Plush Hourglass Floor Pillow. And here is the back. So you can see when you crochet them together at the end, you're going to be working through both layers. And right here where they overlap, you'll be working through all 3. But you just do a simple round of single crochet to join all the pieces together. So now let's go ahead and get started with our stitch tutorial. So what you need to make the Plush Hourglass Floor Pillow is 3 balls of Bernat Blanket Extra. I used this velvet teal colorway to make my original, and today I'll be demonstrating in this gray orchid. You'll also need 3 buttons that are about 1.5 inches across or 40 millimeters. You'll also need a 24-inch square pillow form, which as we've just seen is a little too big to fit on camera right here. And then of course some stitch markers and a nice large yarn needle. You will want to invest in a larger yarn needle for these larger yarns. This yarn just won't fit through your standard yarn needle. Of course, you'll also need a hook. And with this big, thick jumbo yarn, we're using a USQ or 16 millimeter hook. This one is by Susan Bates. You get links to the written pattern as well as the right and left-handed video tutorials in the description or on mooglyblog.com. Now this pattern starts with a chain of 25, but if you'd like to make a custom size, you can start with a multiple of 6 plus 1. Today, for our sample, I'll be starting with a chain of 13, which is a multiple of 6 plus 1, about half the size of our full-sized pillow. So after you've made your chain of 25, or however size you want it to be, then we're going to skip the chain closest to the hook and half double crochet in each remaining chain across. I really like to work into the back hump for this stitch. I find it's a little bit easier to find with this thick yarn, and I really like the edge it gives to my finished project. But you can work into whichever part of the chain you like. You simply want to half double crochet in each chain to the end for row 1. So at the end of row 1 for your full-sized pillow, you should have a total of 24 stitches. So at the end of row 1 for your full-sized pillow, you should have a total of 24 half double crochets. And indeed, there'll be 24 stitches in every row of this pattern, both for this front panel and both of the back panels. So now we're ready to begin row 2. Row 2 and every even-numbered row of this pattern is made by simply chaining 1 and half double crocheting across. So for rows 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, on through the end of the pattern, we simply work a row of half double crochet. So after you've finished your first 2 rows of half double crochet, it's time to begin row 3. We're going to start with a chain 1, which I've already got here, and then half double crochet in the first 5 stitches. Now, when I make half double crochet rows, as you've seen here, I like to start with a chain 1. Some people prefer to start with a chain 2 and count that as their first stitch, but I find it leaves a gap that I don't like. If you prefer that method though, you can absolutely do it that way. One thing I do recommend though is that if you find your turning chain, that chain 1, to be a little bit shorter, that it's pulling down on this half double crochets, you can just pull up on that chain 1 when you make it to give yourself a little bit more room there. So let's see here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 1 more to make. and then we begin our repeat that begins with the asterisk. Okay, so after you've got your first 5 half double crochets made, then it's time to front post treble crochet around the next 2 stitches 2 rows below. So since it's a treble, we yarn over twice. Then we find the next stitch 2 rows below. So here's the next stitch. We want to go into the stitch under that, the one that the next stitch is worked into. Then we're going to bring our hook around that post from the front and around the back to come out on the other side. So right around the body of that half double crochet stitch. Then we yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through 2. Give that a little tug if you need to. With these textured yarns, sometimes you have to pull a little harder. Yarn over and pull through 2. And yarn over and pull through 2 to finish the stitch. So now we do that again around the next stitch. Yarn over twice. And now we can just jump right on down there to that row 2 rows below and find that very next stitch. Go from the front around the back, come up on the other side with your hook. Yarn over and pull up a loop. You see we've got 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over and pull through 2. And yarn over and pull through 2. There we are. So we've made our first 2 post stitches. So now we've made our first 2 front post treble crochets. And this is where we begin the repeat for this pattern. Now on our little guy, we weren't really going to have room for it, but what you want to do for your repeat, beginning with the asterisk, is half double crochet in the next 4 stitches, then front post treble in the next 2. Just do that over and over again, half double crochet in the next 4, front post treble in the next 2, until 5 stitches remain at the end of the row. On our little sample, we're already there. So before we half double crochet in those last 5 stitches, I just want to point out that we've made these front post stitches here, which means we're going to basically skip over those stitches behind. If we worked into those 2, we'd be increasing. We'd be making more stitches than in the previous row. So when we make these cable stitches, anytime we make a front post stitch, we want to make sure to skip those stitches behind it. Those are basically considered already worked. So if you need to, you can always flip over your work and count those stitches, whether it's 2 or 1, however many you've skipped over there, so that you can find the very next stitch to work into. Then, of course, we just half double crochet in the last 5 stitches of our row. So there's 1 and 2 and 3. Pull up a little bit more yarn here from our big ball of yarn. I love this purple color. It's so pretty. I wish I'd had 3 balls, but I may have made the pillow in it, but velvet teal is what I had. So there's 4 and there is 5. So this is basically what your row 3 is going to look like, but you're going to have a couple more iterations of those front post treble crochets right there in the field of half double crochets. After that, it's time for row 4, and of course, that's an even numbered row. So it's simply chain 1 and half double crochet across. When you half double crochet across these rows, of course, we'll be working from this side, but you want to make sure that you work in the tops of those half double crochets and then the tops of the post stitches when you get to them. Don't come back and work into those skipped stitches. Make sure you follow the line of the previous row. So now we're ready for row 5. For row 5, we start with a chain 1, which I already have there, and then we're going to half double crochet in the first 3 stitches. If you find that you have trouble keeping your stitch count or keeping even rows, one tip you can use is to use stitch markers in the first and last stitch of each row. This will help you not accidentally work into the turning chain, which is a really common beginner mistake, and not accidentally add any stitches at the end. Again, very easy to do, especially when working with textured yarns like this one. There we go. So we've got our first 3 half double crochets made. Now we're going to front post treble crochet around the first post stitch 2 rows below. So we want to come over here and find that very first post stitch. It's all the way over here. And this is the one we're going to be going around now. Working post stitches around post stitches is very easy because you simply insert your hook right under that post that's sort of floating right there on top of your fabric anyway. But of course, we have to start by yarning over twice for our front post treble crochet. Then we jump all the way over here and slide our hook right under that post. Yarn over and pull up a loop. And then we can yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over and pull through 2. And yarn over and pull through 2 to finish that stitch. There we are. So you can see this has pulled this cable over here, which is going to help create that hourglass shape. So what we do now what we do now rather, is we half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So again, we want to make sure to skip that stitch behind the one we just made and go to the next one. We don't want to add any stitches to our row. We still want to have a total of 24 stitches on our full-sized pillow here. So there's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. There we are. Just some standard half double crochets. Then what we're going to do is front post treble crochet around the next 2 post stitches 2 rows below, and then half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. And that's our repeat. This is the section that starts with the asterisk. Now again, on our little sample, I don't have as many stitches to work around. It's just hard to get this great big pillow cover on camera, which is why we're making it small. But let me show you now how to front post treble crochet around this one that we missed over. You see here, we're creating that hourglass shape. So now we've worked the stitches sort of in the middle of that hourglass, and it's time to come back and grab that other one right here. So we yarn over twice and come all the way back here and just really bring your hook right on under that post. Then you can yarn over and pull up your loop. I'll take a break here real quick to pull up a little bit more yarn. There we go. And then we yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2, just as before. So then, if we had our full-size blanket here, remember we'd have another set of these posts over here. So then we would come over here and grab that next one, just like we did over here. So we're going to be pulling these cables together while these cables are coming apart. So you're going to keep repeating that, working another 4 half double crochets in between those sets of cables until you have 4 stitches left at the very end. Then you will front post treble crochet around that very last post. Because remember, we're going to be pulling this one over. So there's going to be 1 left there, the one we worked right at the end, and then half double crochet in those last 3 stitches. So if I look behind this post stitch and skip the next stitch there should be just 3 stitches left. And so I'm going to half double crochet into each of those stitches. And of course, row 6, being an even numbered row, is just a row of chain 1 and half double crochets, and then we can turn and come back for row 7. Row 7, the instructions are actually identical to row 5, but we've already got our post stitches over here. So let's go ahead and work through this together and see how, even though it's the same instructions, we get a little bit different look. I've already got my first chain 1 there. So first, of course, I need to half double crochet in those first 3 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. And then it is time to front post treble crochet around the first front post treble crochet 2 rows below. And of course, that one's right here. So now we're just going straight down. Even though it's the same set of instructions, and we're just going for that first one. So it'll be out here by itself. We just don't have to reach as far for it. So we're going to yarn over twice, just as before. Go right on under that post, yarn over and pull up our loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. So we've got our first one there, and then we half double crochet in the next 4. We got to skip that one behind it, of course. So we've got 1, 2, get that through there, give that one a little extra tug there, 3, and 4. There we are. And then, of course, we begin our repeat again. But now, again, we're going to be just working straight down into each one of those cables. So it's easier to see where to put our hook. We don't have to try and pull them over into a new line anywhere. So we just go right down into that post stitch right below. You can see I have a tendency when I'm working cable stitches like this to sort of turn my work sideways. I find it a little bit easier with this big yarn and hook, but you should absolutely experiment and find the best way for you to hold your yarn and hook for these big projects. You'll notice if you watch my other videos, a lot of times I use the pencil hold, but I personally find that the knife grip is easier with these big hooks and yarn. So again, you should experiment a little bit and do whatever is going to be most comfortable for you. So then, of course, we keep working across until we've got those last 3 stitches, and then we half double crochet in each of those last 3 stitches. So as I say, rows 5 and 7, the instructions are identical, but it looks a little different because we're just going straight down to find those post stitches rather than having to travel a little bit to help create that hourglass shape. So now that we've brought it up a little bit, it's time to start bringing it in together. So work round 8 in half double crochet, and then it'll be time for row 9. Now, just like rows 5 and 7, rows 9 and 11 are just the same. However, now we're going to be pulling these cables back in so that we can sort of finish that hourglass shape we're making. So I've got my chain 1, and then I'm going to half double crochet in the first 5 stitches again. This should be very familiar. Remember, our hourglass cables sort of started in these positions, so now we're just returning them to that starting position. Now on your full-size pillow, if you look at the pictures provided in the pattern, you'll see that there are 3 cables across, or 3 sets of hourglass cables, and on our little sample here, we just have the 1. So let's see here. We've got our first 5 half double crochets there made, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to front post treble crochet around those first 2 post stitches 2 rows below. So you can see now they're split up, and we're going to be bringing them right back to the center there. So let's start by yarning over twice. Then we jump all the way back over here and come under that first cable. Don't be afraid to bend your fabric. You can see it's all bent up here as I go in. That's totally fine. As you work off those sets of loops in this treble crochet, you'll create the height in your stitch that should let it lay nice and flat. There we are. So then we need to do it again, yarn over twice, and jump all the way over here to the next one. Just make sure you come down here where it's nice and open and insert your hook right into that space under the post. I love making cables once I've got it going and there are other cables to work into. It's just so much fun to slide the hook in there. There we go. So you can see now by making those 2 front post treble crochets, we've brought that shape back together, creating that hourglass shape. So then, of course, we would do another 4 half double crochets and then another 2 front post treble crochets until we got to the very last 5 stitches where we would half double crochet in the very last 5 stitches. So that's what we should have here. I'll make sure I am skipping, let's see, those 2 stitches, because remember we worked 2 front post stitches here back to back. We want to make sure that we skip 2 stitches back here and then half double crochet in just those last 5. So you should make sure that every row that you make in this pattern has the same number of stitches, whether that's 24 as in the original pattern or whatever adjustment you have made to the pattern. So I've got just 2 more half double crochets here. And then of course, row 10 will be another row of chain 1 and half double crochet as well. And now we're ready for row 11, which is the last row of our repeat. You can see here, I've got my chain 1 already made. And as I said, it's going to be exactly the same as row 5, but this time, instead of stretching to go grab those cables, we're just going to be working straight down into them. So let's go ahead and finish up our repeat together. We'll work a half double crochet in the first 5 stitches, just as in the previous row. So there is 2, 3, there we go, 4. Need a little bit more yarn for my ball here. You have to go through it a little bit quicker when it's this thick stuff there. There we go. We've got 4, I believe, and then 1 more. There we are. So there is our 5, and it's led us right up to that cable. So we simply front post treble crochet in those next 2 front post treble crochets 2 rows below. So that means we just go ahead, look for that space right there, stick our hook right in there for our first one, and work those off in pairs here. There we go, 2 and 2, and then yarn over twice again and come right back to that next one. Just go right down under that whole post of that stitch. Then, of course, for your full-size blanket, you'll move to your repeat where you half double crochet in the next 4 stitches and then front post treble in the next 2, on and on across until at the end of row 11, you should have 5 stitches remaining and you half double crochet in those last 5 stitches. So after you've finished round 11, then you make a round 12, which is of course your chain 1 and half double crochet across because it's an even numbered row. And then you're going to go back and repeat rows 5 through 11 once more. So that's a total of 19 rows. At the end of row 19, you don't want to turn again to work another even numbered row. Rather, we chain 1 and single crochet down the side of our piece. You want to make sure that the side of your piece here, as you crochet down, has the same number of stitches across. So in our full-sized pillow, you would want to make sure that you have 24 single crochets worked down that side, then 24 single crochets across the foundation chain, and 24 single crochets back up the other side, with 24 single crochets finally worked along the last row of your cable stitch pattern here, right along row 19. You do also want to chain 2 at each corner. That just helps you get around the corners. Working this single crochet edging will make it a lot easier to join the finished pieces when you're done. After you've made the front panel and you've worked your edging, you can go ahead and break your yarn and set it aside. You'll be making two back panels, one large and one small, and they're simply rows of half double crochet. You still want them to be the same width as your front, so 24 stitches of half double crochet at their same width, and then you want the long panel to be the majority of the height. So for the full size pattern, that would be 17 rows, but just 17 rows of plain old half double crochet, no cabling. And then the small back panel that allows you to open the cover and insert the pillow is, again, 24 stitches wide, just simple half double crochet, but it's only 5 rows long. So you just get that little cap. You want to go ahead and add that same single crochet edging around each of those panels, working 20 single crochets along the side of the larger panel and 6 single crochets along the side of the shorter panel. Now let's take a look at some of the assembly. So here I've got the finished pillow cover, which you can see barely fits on camera here. Can't even get the whole thing height-wise, but you can see we've worked our 3 cables across. Those pairs of front post treble crochets then come together and apart again to create this beautiful hourglass pattern. That's why I say we've got 3 sets of cables on the full-sized pillow cover. Now I'm going to try and move it around a little bit here. I just took the pillow form out so that I could show you guys a little bit closer the assembly here. But here we have those plain half double crochet back panels. You can see here I've got the big long one attached to what I'm thinking of as the bottom of my pillow cover. Of course, it's totally reversible, whatever you like. And then here you can see my short panel with just 5 rows. After those panels are all made and we've worked our edging, you simply want to lay it down so that make sure your cables are facing out. You want those to show, of course. No good having those on the inside of the pillow. But then you can lay your long panel across from one end, so to speak, and then the short panel from the other end. So then you'll want to use your handy dandy stitch markers to match up those stitches so that you can make sure you've got 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 together all the way across. Really count those out. Here, where they overlap, you're going to actually be going through all 3 layers. You can see here, there are a few stitches that are worked through both the short back layer, the long back layer, and the front layer. What this does is create this great envelope that we can take off and wash as needed, which is always great when you've got something like a floor pillow. To close it up, I simply added these 3 buttons using a bit of matching color thread, or at least as close as I had in my stash. This size of button is great because it really does fit right between the stitches, the half double crochet stitches that you've already made. So just find that little space there after you've got your pillow in it. You can go ahead and sew on those buttons. As you can see here, I simply sort of eyeballed it out and measured a little bit and made sure they were evenly across. If you've changed the size of this pillow cover, you may want to add or subtract the number of buttons you use. You just want to line it up so that it closes nicely once that pillow is inside. So that's how to crochet the Plush Hourglass Floor Pillow. I hope you'll check out the free pattern on mooglyblog.com, as well as give this Bernat Blanket Extra a try. It's a really fun, super jumbo yarn to work with. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.